Have you ever felt invisible in a room full of people, like no matter how much you think, observe, or understand more than everyone else, no one seems to notice you're there? Maybe you speak little, think too much, and feel like the world was built for those who shout the loudest. But what if I told you that this weakness is actually your greatest weapon? In this video, you're going to learn how to turn your silence into strategy, how to use your powers of observation to predict moves before they happen, and why true masters of the game never make noise when they enter the room. If you're introverted, neurodivergent, or someone who's always felt like an outsider, this video is for you. Not to change who you are, but to show you how to conquer by being exactly who you are. We're going to dive into real stories of outsiders who dominated the game by ignoring the rules of what's considered normal. Watch until the end, because you're about to learn how to silence the world, observe everything, and win with surgical precision. Let's talk to the ones who grew up being called weird, quiet, or too intense. The ones who felt the weight of being labeled antisocial, awkward, or different. Maybe you've never found it easy to fit in, always feeling like your mind worked in a completely different way. Or maybe you did fit in, but only by forcing yourself, shrinking who you are just to squeeze into spaces you were never meant to be in. That feeling of being on the margins, unseen, underestimated, it eats away at you. But here's the truth no one told you. That condition is not a flaw, it's an advantage. If you learn how to play it as a trump card, you'll stop feeling out of place and start becoming dangerous. In the best way possible. Think about it. Why do you think the world's greatest visionaries, the true strategy masters, are rarely the loudest in the room? Alan Turing, for example, wasn't the popular guy. He was introverted, often isolated, but his mind cracked codes that decided wars. Rosa Parks, with one quiet act of resistance, ignited a movement that changed American history. Elon Musk, with his socially unconventional behavior, built companies that are shaping the future. These people won because they saw the world from where few dared to look, from the edges. And because from there they could observe, understand, and act with precision. The world is loud, but those who truly dominate do it in silence. You don't need to compete with the ones shouting. You need to learn to hear what's behind the noise, to observe when no one's paying attention, to move your pieces without warning. And that's exactly what we're about to explore. The 3 tactics that turn a silent observer into an invisible but unstoppable force. The first one is what I call active silence. Silence by choice, not by lack of voice. When you stay silent strategically, you become unpredictable. People project respect and mystery onto those who don't react impulsively. The ones who talk too much expose themselves. Those who respond too fast reveal too much. But the ones who listen gather ammunition, and when they speak, they strike. Start training silence as presence. When someone asks why you're so quiet, smile. That alone is a powerful answer. The second tactic is reading patterns and environments. This is your superpower. While everyone rushes to take up space, you observe the empty ones. Walk into a room. Do you notice who people look at when something happens? That's the real leader, even if no one says it out loud. Watch who interrupts, who listens, who avoids eye contact. You understand invisible dynamics. People who never stop talking don't have time to observe. But you do. And that's exactly what puts you one step ahead. When you master the room without needing to dominate it with words, you've already won half the game. It's like seeing the chessboard from above while everyone else is blinded by their own voices. The third tactic is surgical action. The world praises fast movers, but forgets that true victory belongs to those who act with precision. It's not about doing more. It's about doing the right thing, at the right time, in the right way. Every word, every move, every decision of yours needs to be placed like a well-aimed strike. You don't need to show up all the time. You just need to appear when no one expects it, and leave a mark that can't be erased. Noise gets attention, strategy earns respect, and respect is what builds true authority. But now you might be wondering, how do I apply all of this in real life? How do I turn these tactics into real-world results? Let's start with your career. You don't need to be the most charismatic to stand out. Learn to anticipate decisions before they happen. Recognize patterns, and position your ideas based on what others haven't even seen yet. Silence and timing are powerful weapons. On social media, the same logic applies. You don't have to expose your entire life to build a strong presence. Mystery, scarcity, quiet positioning, these all create magnetism. People are drawn to what they can't decode. In relationships, listening deeply and speaking with intent creates a kind of presence that stands out in a world full of empty noise. When you speak, people stop to listen because they know you don't waste words. Now imagine the journey of someone like you, underestimated, overlooked, ignored in meetings and groups, but who began to use active silence, started observing behind the scenes, and acted with precision. Within months, that person becomes indispensable. Not for shouting louder, but for being the only one who sees what no one else does. When real solutions are needed, they're the one people turn to. Not because they changed who they were, but because they learned to use exactly who they were as an advantage. And that's exactly what you can do, and should. And here's the final turning point. You are not weak for being introspective. You're not weird for thinking differently. You're not less because you'd rather observe before you act. The truth is, the world needs more people like you. What's missing is you realizing you're playing the right game. You just need the right pieces. You don't need to adapt. You need to become impossible to ignore. And that starts now. It starts when you stop trying to fit in and start taking your place. When you understand that silence isn't the absence of strength, it's control. That observation isn't passivity, it's mastery. And that doing less, but with precision, beats reacting all the time. If you made it this far, it's because something inside you always knew there was more strength in your way of being than the world ever made you believe. Now you have the tools. Now it's your turn to silence the noise, observe with intention, and conquer with strategy. If this resonated with you, drop a comment sharing a time when you were underestimated and how you plan to flip the script. Like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to stop doubting themselves. Because sometimes all we need is silence, vision, and the courage to move in the dark.